Let's Talk Oculus is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to know how to support the show, go to patreon.com/Playtest VR. Hey everyone, it's Dan from Playtest VR here, and we're on Let's Talk Oculus episode 4 now. I have with me my co-host Samson from Spreading VR. Samson, how's it going?
Oh, it's going pretty good today. We got some beautiful weather, and we got some good topics to talk about.
Oh, it's miserable here in Vancouver. It's just non-stop rain. But yeah, I'm excited for the topic. So in this episode, we're going to talk about a couple new games which came out today. ForeVR Bowl and Carve Snowboarding. They both released on the day of recording. Samson's also been trying out the X40 bHaptics tactical suit and the arm plates as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So we're going to talk a bit about that, but we're going to lead off by talking about our experiences of introducing people to VR. But before that, if you like what you hear, consider subscribing to the podcast. It's on all good podcast platforms. It's also got a video on the Playtest VR YouTube channel. Send in your questions on letstalkoculus@gmail.com. All the details will be in the description below. And also, if you want to support the show, throw $1 at us on patreon.com/playtestvr. So, with that out of the way, Samson, are you ready to start off?
I am. All right, so I wanted to talk a little bit about introducing people to VR. I have my old roommate actually has invited me over a few times over the last month and a half to show her friends and even her dad VR. And so I was just there last night showing her dad VR. And first I'll talk about how I like to start showing people VR. And I always begin with the first steps. It's a tutorial. They can see their controllers. They don't have to do much moving. They get to shoot. They get to dance. And then that's that. And then if they're gamers, I like to just let them sort of scroll through my catalog. As you know, Dan, it's quite extensive.
It's quite a big catalog.
Yeah, and so I'll ask them if they want a particular genre, and a lot of times they'll end up in like Richie's Plank Experience or Vader Immortal, something like that. If they're not a gamer, I like to start them with something that I think they'll be a little familiar with, like Angry Birds, or something that's just like super duper simple, like Cubism. And my friend's dad got so locked into Cubism for like 30, 45 minutes or so.
Nice.
So yeah, which was pretty impressive for for his first time in VR. Anyway, I just wanted to talk a little bit about that. I want people to try VR because their first experience has to be positive.
Yeah.
And I think of like the 10 plus people I've introduced VR to, nobody has bought their own Quest yet, but I did buy a couple of them, the Quest 2, and they play it, and so that's good enough for me.
That's awesome. Don't you think it's an interesting fact that the first things that you do is after first steps is that they normally go for Vader Immortal or Richie's Plank Experience, which is like the first original Quest games that you can get, like way back. It's interesting that you always keep going back to that, right? There's not been another game for you maybe that you think that other people will jump into, or do you think they're just most simple and they're good introduction games?
Yeah, they're pretty simple, very good introduction games. If I happen to have both my Quest 2s there, sometimes I'll start them in Walkabout and we can golf together. But Walkabout, like, sometimes they'll end up like, I guess Richie's Plank Experience isn't a good comparison, but sometimes they'll end up like off a cliff in Walkabout and they're like, whoa, what do I do?
Yep.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I think we just had a new roommate and I showed him a bit of VR, and normally what I do before is the same as you. I give him first steps first, and then I normally, depending on who they are, I normally throw them into a rhythm game or something like Walkabout. But with this one, I did give him a rhythm game straight off the gate. I didn't tell him how to do the first steps or anything. I just put him straight into Pistol Whip. And I realized that was a bad idea because he lasted like 2 minutes before he had to get out because it was going so fast. And I was like, okay, bad idea. And then I gave him Walkabout and he absolutely loved it. Also,
a little slower.
I also realized that showing someone big screen is a big win as well, because I'm always surprised to see the movie theater and sitting down with people. It's pretty spectacular. They always think about just games, games, games. They don't think about the other experiences. So I would definitely recommend something like that. And what is the experience? Is it Mission ISS?
I think so, yeah.
That is a fantastic space experience. Fantastic. You have to pay for like the further levels, but I think the first little episode is free, and that's a good experience to give someone for VR.
I've heard that one can be a little tough on the VR legs. It's like no gravity, maybe.
It is. Yeah, you're in the space. And there's another one actually. While we're on the topic, have you ever played the that experience called Wolf in the Walls or Wolves in the Walls?
Yeah, I really like those experiences.
Yeah, that's another cool one as well. To throw them a little bit into, but like you said, it's important. The first step in VR, if you give them a terrible experience, they're never going to try it ever again.
Exactly. Yeah, I should be more proactive about showing them big screen and even like just the browser, because there's like just an assumption that it's a gaming device. And I had asked my friend's dad actually if he wanted to play Beatsaber, and he had heard of it. He's like, "Is that the one where you chop blocks?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "No, I'm okay."
Yeah. Beatsaber is a good one to show people as well, because it is so simple in terms of the mechanics. But yeah, I think generally I also try to tell people that if you spend longer than like 10-15 minutes since your first ever VR, you can get a little bit tired, especially in the eyes. So always let them know that, because they can. I also like to have it as a big space. Like, I can play VR in the tiny space that I have behind me, behind the green screen. I have like half a foot between me and my bed. Like, there's literally no space whatsoever. But because I've obviously been in there so long, I know how the surroundings work. But putting someone into VR for the first time, I also like to make sure they have a big enough space so they can go to the ends and it'll be fine, rather than just hitting walls and such. So
definitely, yeah. Big space, or the first time I put my mom in VR, I had her sit.
Yeah, definitely. I think the Oculus Quest. Have you ever tried the Link? The actual Oculus Rift first steps. I don't know I can't remember what it's called, but I tried it when I first got my Link cable. But it's a fantastic experience because you just jump between different worlds. Like, once you meet an alien, another one you're in like a museum, and there's like nothing, and then all of a sudden you hear footsteps, and all of a sudden this dinosaur comes walking towards you and like literally roars into your face, and that is awesome. It's such a spectacular experience. So that will be on your as soon as you connect it to Link and you go on the Oculus app on the PC. It will be on there. I can't remember if it's called First Steps or something like that. That's a very old experience. You can tell it's a bit dated, but the dinosaur still looks super cool.
Fantastic.
But yeah, you're right. It's important. Is there any other like games and experiences you'd recommend for first timers?
Yes, but I think I want to think about this a little bit. I don't want to just. I haven't thought about exactly all the best ones.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Maybe this is something that we should discuss on another podcast. That might be a good podcast topic. Okay, so after that, let's talk about what we've been playing. Samson, you got a lot of VR in this week?
Yeah, I feel like I've gotten a good amount, especially with the synth riders.
Yeah, of course, getting some extra. In terms of synth riders or rhythm games, did you notice that today Beatsaber released a new DLC pack?
I did see that. I have yet to play it, but I did see a couple ones on there that I'm particularly intrigued by, especially the Limp Bizkit song.
Yeah, exactly, Roland. So I believe Interscope Records have partnered with Beatsaber to release a DLC pack. It is on sale instantly as it's just released. I think it's around. I'm going to say in Canadian. In Canadian, it's $23, but like I don't know how much these packs are in US.
I think. I just purchased it to play later. Let me check my email.
While you check that, I believe it is 16% off at the moment.
Yeah, I bought it. It was $9.99 in the US on sale.
Yeah, on sale at the moment. So it is on sale at the moment. It includes quite a few songs from Interscope Records and quite popular songs as well. We have some really old ones as well, from like Pussycat Dolls, Don't Ya? You know, all the way up to, we got Limp Bizkit Rollin', and then we've got Kendrick Lamar DNA. It's just such a wide variety of songs. I didn't purchase the pack, but I purchased 2 songs. I purchased the Kendrick Lamar one, and I purchased the Limp Bizkit one. And the Kendrick Lamar one's okay. Like, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love that music and I love Kendrick Lamar, but I don't think it works as well hip hop in Beat Saber. But freaking hell, Limp Bizkit Rollin', I tell you now, rock music, because it's just like you're playing the drums, right? You're going towards the beat. Rolling was good fun, and it just made me really crave a Limp Bizkit pack, to be honest. And actually, when they announced it this morning, I was just driving and I had to put Limp Bizkit's Essentials on, and I had to rock to that just to get myself in the mood, you know.
Oh yeah.
I did actually tweet the developer of Smash Drums, and I was like, "Look, can you get a Limp Bizkit in there?" And he was like, "It'll be my dream. It will be my dream."
Yeah, it's got to be pricey.
Oh, very very pricey. Yeah. So aside from Synthrider, you just been a Synthrider guy, or?
No. Well, I got some Forever Bowling in, and I believe I got a. Maybe I didn't get a Demio game in since we last did this.
That's surprising.
But, yeah, I think my friend that I play with went to New Hampshire, so.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, Forever Bowling. I did manage to get like a half hour of Carve in before we started filming.
Yeah, we can talk about Carve in a moment, because I've played a bunch of it already, so I have a few thoughts on that. But let's swing it by to Forever Bowling. Actually, by the time this podcast does go up, my video review should be up on YouTube about it. I talk about it extensively. To me, I feel like it's a solid game, but have you noticed that a lot of content creators or people on social media are calling this like the Wii Sports bowling of VR?
Yeah, I have seen that a lot.
It's a lot, right? And in my video as well, I lead off saying I feel like that's not the right thing to say, because Wii Sports bowling, in terms of a social aspect, I can see that. But in terms of Wii Sport bowling, it's a very simple game. You learn how to break the physics quickly if you're a gamer, right? Where you can just flick the wrist, or do some crazy spin shots, or start from way right. This is much more. It's much more. It's got that realism like 11 table tennis has in a way for bowling. It's not as simple as Wii Sports bowling, and I think if people are going in wanting something as simple as that, they might be disappointed, because it is a little bit of a learning curve. I know me and you, Samson, we played it, and I put some clips on in the video review. There's a lot of gutter balls that we have.
Definitely a fair amount of gutter balls, but I do feel like, well, it's been a while since I real life bowl. But there are some like arcadey features, like the 100 balls or whatever that you can unlock. Some of them have the weird power ups. I did appreciate that stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So what I realized as well with this game, it's $20 on the store, and originally I thought that was too much. I thought it was probably about $5 too much for this game. However, after I've played it for a few hours now, I realized that it can probably justify that price. The reason why is because it is so in depth. It has a lot of venues. It has 6 venues out the gate. I've actually only unlocked 3 so far, because you do have to hit certain levels to get there. And like you just alluded to, there's 100+ balls in the game, and all the balls have their own like unique design. Like there's a dragon one. There's like a fish one where you put your hand in the ball and you look closely, and the shark's eating your thumb. So
that was a cool ball.
That's a cool ball, and they have special effects. Some of the balls. I don't know if you remember, Samson, that pink ball that I had, which had like lasers or lightning coming off it as I was throwing a beautiful gutter ball, you know, with that. Yeah, a bunch of different venues. The music as well. There's unique music to each venue. There is. One of the things I alluded to in the review was I wish there was a YouTube feature like Topgolf where you can put it in. You can put in your own music or stream in your own music from YouTube. That is coming. I looked at the developers' notes that they sent me just before I filmed, and it is coming as well. So they're doing a lot to make the game better. Oil patterns as well. Samson, do you know what oil patterns are?
I still don't. I haven't Googled it yet.
Okay, this is what oil patterns are. I wrote this down because I was like, this is needed in the review because I feel like not many people know. Right. The oil patterns make each lane of the bowling unique. It affects the ball's reaction as it goes down the lane. The oil helps control how much your ball hucks. So that means that if there's more oil in this area, it's less likely that your ball will huck to the left or the right. Therefore, if there's hardly any oil on the outside, your ball will likely curve in and stay in the lane. So it's like a difficulty. So if the whole thing was oiled up, that means if you hit a straight ball, it most likely will continue going straight, won't curve, and it will hit the gutters or something. So each lane has its different oil pattern, and there's a ton of oil patterns in ForeVR Bowling as well that you can unlock. So, and you've got achievements as well. There's so much. So like,
sorry, that was all in my pros. Like, just that there's so much to unlock, especially when compared to like, I mean, Walkabout has the balls and the clubs, but this has like 100 bowling balls. I think it's 6 alleys.
Yeah.
It just feels like there's a lot to unlock. It has the leaderboards that I believe are weekly and local.
Yep, that's true.
And the music was a solid touch. I think mostly in single player. I feel like I will mostly have that muted when I'm playing with my friends.
Yeah, I agree. Things I wanted to see improve on the actual game was that the fact that I think there should be like a tournament mode with your friends. It would be great if they added, like, say if me and you were playing the other day, and I can go, okay, we're gonna do a best of 5, say, and the winner wins like a trophy, like a custom trophy that says like beat Samson. I'm pretending I beat you. Beat Samson on this day, and I can have that in the achievements as a trophy as well. Or also maybe let me wager my coins. So the game uses a currency system of when you bowl, you get coins. There's a golden pin where you can get more coins. Different lanes have different modifiers as well, which will grant you even more coins, and you can use those coins to buy bowling balls, basically, once you unlock the chance to actually buy them. I think it'd be cool if we had both 200 coins, say, and I'd be like, Samson, I'm going to bet you 50 coins that I'm going to beat you in this game.
I think that would be a really nice touch.
Yeah, I think they need to add a little bit more to it in terms of the multiplayer aspect. At the moment, it's just you just play bowling, and they've added a lot in terms of presentation, but I just feel like there's a couple more things in terms of game modes that they could add just to get people coming back. You know, if I beat you 10 times, Samson, it doesn't matter. But if I have 10 trophies saying Dan's beat Samson, then you're going to be upset about it, and you're going to come back wanting more.
Yeah, I do think there are little ways to improve the social aspect, like perhaps adding mini games or some sort of arcade games in the bowling alley itself. Yeah. I know that Blaston has some sort of lobby like that where you can play games. I know you mentioned this when we played, but the leaderboards are probably going to be packed with 300s.
Yeah.
So I don't know how to combat that other than like, is it only a weekly leaderboards? Like, I guess that'll keep it moving.
At the time of recording, I only saw weekly, and that's it. Which will keep it moving. They also have this notice board in the game hub, which they go, congratulations to blah 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 who got 300, and there's like a weekly challenge. They're like, oh, can you do this? Can you do, there's all sorts of challenges that they're gonna post weekly, so that could keep it fresh as well.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it's a solid game. But what would you say? Do you think $20 is still a bit too much for this one?
Yeah, I'm on the line of it. I texted my friend. I was like, "Look, I think what you said. I think this game's probably about $5 too much, but the developer seems like they're going to keep adding things in." And as you all know, I love the social aspect of VR, and so I am pushing him hard to get it. I think he'll get it this weekend, and then hopefully I'll be bowling with my friends early next week.
Hopefully, I hope this game does better, actually, because I've seen the critical response, and even though people are giving it good reviews, not many people are taking interest in this game, and I don't know if it's just because it's bowling or the price tag. I'm not sure. It might do well in a big sale, I know Topgolf didn't do well, or for ProPut didn't do well for a while, and then it had a big sale in November after the Quest 2 came out as well, and it blew up.
Really?
So
I
it did.
didn't know that
Yeah, I did. I saw Ryan's tweet about it back in those times, and I remember him showing like the graph of his sales, and the sale was like small, and then all of a sudden November, must have been Black Friday sale, spiked up like crazy. So yeah, I don't know if that's because Playtest VR was born around that time and he started doing videos about the who knows? But yeah, that was ForeVR VR Bowl. Samson, any more thoughts on it, or should we move on to Carve?
No, that's about it. Let's move on.
Sweet. You said you played Carve bowling, right? Carve bowling, Carve snowboarding. Like you put a bit of 20 minutes in. Like, what did you think on the first initial 20 minutes?
Yeah, so I did the tutorial, and then I did the time attack twice through on the same mountain.
Yeah.
And so first of all, I'd like to say I am not a snowboarder or a skier. I, in fact, do not really enjoy them at all. Like, I'll go hang out at the mountain with my friends, but I ain't going on the mountain.
Fair enough.
And I surprisingly like this game.
Yeah.
I think in part it's because I'm not an actual snowboarder, so like moving with my hands feels like just fine to me. I don't really think twice about it. The tricks are gonna be hard for sure. I was basically just like nose grabbing and kind of doing 360s, and I was like, all right, I don't know what else I can do. But yeah, I was enjoying the feel of going down the mountain, gaining speed. The jumping felt pretty good. I don't know how much depth is to the game, as I've only played 20 or 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Or how much like leaderboards multiplayer. I know I saw like you could race Ghosts time trial of friends, I think, and yourself. But I'm not sure if there's anything else.
Well, that's my problem. Okay, so yeah, my thoughts on the game. I've jumped in. I only played an hour or two of it, but I recorded my first initial reactions. It should be on YouTube by the time that this podcast comes up. And this is my number one game to come out of the Oculus Showcase. It was the surprise no one knew about. It was the only surprise, I think. And I was like, this is fantastic, because recently as well, I just recorded a review of the early access of Powder VR. And Powder VR is another snowboarding and skiing game. It has skiing in as well, but it's only for PC VR on the Oculus Rift or on the Link. And that game feels amazing. I don't know how they capture the adrenaline so well, but the visuals are lacking, and I don't know if that's because of my graphics card or because they've gone for realism rather than cartoony graphics like Carve Snowboarding has. But onto Carve Snowboarding, my initial thoughts were, this is good. This feels great. It doesn't feel as good as Powder VR in my opinion. Like, to move your board and such, it's the exact same. You use your hands to, like, your hand kind of guides the motion. You can also put your controllers next to your hips and just move it that way, which I feel makes it feel more natural. I do snowboarding. I don't do skiing. I never skied in my life, but this is snowboarding. But I think it feels good. And plus, if you have done snowboarding, it's fun because you can kind of mimic the snowboarding movements and it still will respond correctly in the movements. So I thought that was good. I only played the first two mountains, and they're very similar. The second mountain has more trees because it's called the forest, but apart from that, it feels very similar. I love the cabin because you start off in the game hub's awesome, right? And I don't know if I don't think we talked about this when we were talking about ForeVR VR just a second ago. The game hub is awesome because you can go in, you can go see the person giving you your bowling shoes. You can go walk around the place before you actually go into the actual alley, and it's the same with Carve snowboarding. You're in a little cabin, and it's cool because there's a dog there. You can walk around, you can pet the dog.
I was gonna ask you about that. It was like, did you pet the dog? Because that dog scared the crap out of me. Like, I was like, oh, a dog, you can pet it. And then it moved, and
Yeah.
I literally jumped and said, oh my God.
Oh, I wish we captured that on video. Yeah, the dog, 'cause the dog does move crazily, like its tail goes like mad as soon as you pet it. But yeah, you can pet the dog. There's a little like gun.
thing?
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
a gun that you can pick up and shoot balls, like a Nerf gun kind of thing. You can pick up a few objects in there. At the back, there's a stereo where you can collect different mixtapes, and as you play the game, there's different like markers where if you collect these markers, you can unlock more mixtapes on there, and you can also create your own custom mixtape, which was a nice touch. So you can only choose the songs that you want and put it into your own custom track, which is cool. There's also a radio there that you can put on, and it talks about the mountains and how the snow is, and it's kind of funny. It's a nice touch. And then you can choose your gear, your gloves, and your boards. That's amazing. I love that aspect, and I think that's really good. But my problem with the game is that I don't think it's fully done. I think the gameplay is pretty much done. I think like the cabin is done, but you only have time trial or time attack and freestyle. Those are the only two modes in there. There's no story mode. It doesn't have to be a story mode, but there's nothing of that. There's no like single player world tour like there is in Powder VR, where there's actually tournaments. There's no races that you can race against bots. There's no multiplayer where you can just like. I'm not sure about the Ghost. I don't think I've seen it because I don't know anyone who's got the game at the moment, and you've only just had it recently, right? So I don't know about that. But in terms of just racing your friend like at the same time, there's nothing like that. There's no multiplayer, which I think that will be awesome. If they added that. I just feel like the game is another game like Star Wars or Jurassic World Aftermath, where it's just half baked. Like there's a little bit more.
How much is it?
$20.
Okay.
Yeah, it's another $20 game, and I can see I would like if it had those modes, if it had the races on there, if it had multiplayer, or even if it didn't have multiplayer, I think just the races alone would have probably justified the full $20 cost. But right now, I don't know how I can recommend it just yet. Like, if I was to review it on the Oculus scale out of 5 stars, just from my initial impressions from just the first couple hours of the game, I would give it a 3 stars, because I think it's like halfway there. And I can see that it's going to be a great game, but it's just not there yet, you know? It's just not there yet.
I definitely hear what you're saying. Yeah, I'd have a hard time recommending this to someone who's super into snowboarding, because I'd be afraid of them being like, this doesn't feel like snowboarding at all. And then like you say, there's not that much depth to the single player. So if games have multiplayer, it's much easier for me to recommend them.
Of course.
Because I'll play with you. Like come on, let's go at it. But yeah, I have not, like, I've told my friends to buy ForeVR Bowling. Yeah. I have not tell them to buy Carve.
No, it's a little disappointing with me, because I was super excited, and they did release the release date right out of nowhere. Like, I think the release date was meant to be summer 2021, like every other game on the Oculus showcase. But it came out of nowhere. It just said, yep, it's releasing in 2 days, and it's like, oh, awesome. I didn't expect it to be done. It's done, and they could have held it for a couple months and try to put at least one more mode into it. My other issue with the game as well is the tutorial, where you can go back and do the tutorial. Like, the tutorial when you first start the game is more how to do boarding, and there's a lot of text that you just have to circle through, you know? It would be nice if they had a voiceover or something more interactive. I do love that fact about Powder VR. But when you go back to do the tutorial, I wish there was like a system where there's like different tricks that you can select. You can see how someone's doing them, and then you can try and do them. But it's not. The tutorial, you go in, it's like a freestyle downhill. It works similar to like a Tony Hawk practice mode in a way, where you get to the finish line and then it starts again at the top. Okay? But the thing is, if there's it'll show you a trick. So say it will show you a 360, okay, and it will show you where you put your hands on the board, and that's it. And then once you do that trick, then it will move on to the next one. and then it will move on to the next one. There's no like menu system, unless I like completely missed it, but there's no menu system where I could just select, oh, let me just see how to do this this truck trick. Let me just show you how to do the spaghetti trick. And then let me show me how to do it, and then let me practice that. All it does is like tell you
where to grab and all that, right?
Exactly. Yeah. All it does is tell you where to grab. That's the only thing it tells you. Like, because it's got the little board in the left corner. So once you do these tricks, I got to this one that's called, I can't remember what it's called. It was called truck something. But essentially, you had to put both your hands on the board in the middle of the board, right? And I just couldn't figure it out to the life of me. I was like, I can get my right hand on the middle, but the left, because it's using my left hand to move, when I try and put my left on the board, it's not grabbing it. The board's moving. The whole board's moving rather than grabbing it. So I don't know if I'm just doing something incorrectly, but that was a shame as well. Like, it didn't tell me. I wanted more details. Like, I want to do these tricks. I think this will be the fun part of the game. But no, didn't have that.
Yeah, and I couldn't even name you really any snowboarding tricks by name. Mm-hmm. I mean, at least with like Tony Hawk, I know an ollie and an ollie.
That's it. At least with Tony Hawk, I can tell you. Oh wait, I
only know one. I got Airwalk is another one. But yeah, like I have no idea how to do tricks, so I'm just gonna be like jumping and spinning and grabbing.
Yeah. Just to wrap up Carve Snowboarding here. I think it's a half-baked game, but I hope that I'm just missing something because I need to play more to get into it, you know? And it's disappointing for me because, like I said before, the Oculus Gaming Showcase, that was like my number one, and it just didn't deliver. And to be honest, it makes me appreciate Powder VR so much more, because I thought that game had a lot of flaws, and I think it still does, but it's in early access still. And there's so much content in that game that you can do. There's so many mountains. There's so many events like freestyles, checkpoints, races, so much. And it makes me appreciate that game more, to be honest. So hopefully Carve Snowboarding can release a few more updates. Like, it's not a game that you should avoid, but it might be a game that you just wait until they release a few more updates to full-fledge out the actual title.
Yeah, I agree. I'm interested to know if the developer is going to remain active and like continue to fine tune and add things. I think if this game were on sale and you're interested in snowboarding or you know what it has to offer, like pick it up then. I happen to have won it in a Discord giveaway, so awesome. I will not be returning it. But I'll enjoy it a few more hours, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe they'll bring the bHaptics suit into it, and it might change it a bit, you know. And speaking of which, you had your X40 for a week now.
Yes, sir.
And I think the reason why you're playing a lot of Synth Riders is because of it. So tell me all about this suit.
All right, so day 1 or day 2, I got into Synth Riders, and it felt so incredible. Like when you're hitting those orbs and your whole arm, because you get the haptics in the controller,
yep.
And your whole arm just vibrates to each side, and then when you're on the rails, the whole suit is vibrating. It's incredible, but it's incredibly hot. So I got quite sweaty and was not able to play. Also, they're like weights on you, so it's sort of like an extra workout. So I'm going to be looking to buy like what those NBA players wear, like compression arm things.
Oh, yeah.
To hopefully just absorb some of the sweat. And then I also tried it in Thrill the Fight. And so like when you're up there and you're blocking, like you're feeling them on your arm, it was pretty cool. I wish for Thrill the Fight that I had the faceplate.
Of course, yeah, of course.
Because like you're getting punched in the arms and you feel it, or you feel it in the chest, but then you get hit in the head and it's just like nothing. It's almost like, damn, I'm missing out here.
Yeah, it's like immersion breaking ever so slightly, right?
Exactly. And once again with the sweat and it being like weighted, Thrill to Fight was also a bit more of a workout than it normally is. But yeah, I know that Skiva commented on the last one, and recommended Half-Life Alyx. I have yet to get into. I've played a little bit of Half-Life Alyx. I've not played through it, and I've yet to try it with the haptic suit. But maybe Monday's a holiday here in the States, so maybe on Monday I'll try to get that set up with my PC.
Yeah. A lot of people recommend that game for bHaptics. I don't know if it's officially supported or is it just a mod, but
I think it's a mod, yeah.
Yeah, but a lot of people, even Alex VR, who now works for bHaptics, but before he worked for bHaptics, he was saying that was the game that just made him fall in love with this suit, and obviously later on he got a job at the company as well. So yeah, I'm really interested to see what your thoughts are on that one, because everyone keeps talking about him. In terms of synth riders, is it just the arms that you feel it, right? Because you are just using your arms.
Well, you feel it in the chest as well. It's a little less noticeable on the chest for just the orbs, but when you hit the rails where like you got to hold it there, the whole thing is vibrating.
Oh, sick. Is there any is there a speaker in the suit as well or not?
So there's no speaker in the suit, but you can hook it in to the audio. So you can do where it will do it'll essentially work with any game, just audio.
Right.
I haven't used it for to listen to music yet. I'm a little interested now. I've yet to do that. Yeah.
You might as well. You feel the vibrations of the bass or something. It might be
exactly
a bit odd. So have you put your order in for the faceplate?
No, it's not happening. I'm not paying $50 in shipping again just for that.
Yeah, that's fair enough. So now you've tried both with the X16 as well. Do you recommend just jumping to the X40 for people who are interested or on the fence on which one to get?
If you're, if you're into this tech and you really want to, you have the disposable income, you want to try it, go for the 40. I'd say, yeah.
But not
the 16. The 16 just felt like I was it sucked knowing that there was something better. Right. I was like, this could be a little bit better.
Yeah, that's fair. But do you think? I know one of your concerns was it was getting hot, right? Do you think it gets hot more than the X16? It makes sense if it would. But
I do think it does. Yeah, and it's also a little bit heavier.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the X16 has its place. If you're just just want to dabble in it a little bit. Oh, what is this? I'm interested because the X40 is a bit more expensive. I think $200. So.
Yeah, it's a noticeable jump to be honest. They can be expensive, especially if you go for the arms and the face as well. You go all out. That'd be interesting. I'll be interested to see how you feel that in Smash Drums, because Smash Drums, even on the one on the App Lab, the one that everyone can buy the demo, that has bHaptic support as well. So to be honest, I feel like you should have a big list of all the bHaptics compatible. Go right, let me try this. I think it works in Walking Dead as well. Saints and Sinners.
Really?
Yeah, but under a mod, like a side quest mod or something. But I feel like that'd be interesting.
I'm actually very much looking forward to using it in Hyperdash.
Hyperdash? Nice.
Yeah, just feeling the reload in your arms, and once again when you hop on the rails in Hyperdash, the whole thing vibrates. Yeah, I think that one will be a cool one.
Yeah. Would you say at the moment for these suits, do you think they could get more mainstream, or do you think they're still always gonna be a niche for the hardcore VR gamers who are into that stuff?
I think eventually they'll become much like the VR headsets right now. They're going to get more comfortable. They're going to get smaller. They're going to get lighter. And when those things happen, when it's just throwing on, a shirt or something like that, and you don't really I think eventually they could become the norm, an everyday thing that everybody else has too. But for the time until then, it's definitely mostly for the hardcore gamer.
Definitely.
And probably better for the PC VR gamer as well.
I'm sure. On the topic of that, with those accessories, have you ever taken interested in the cyber shoes? Because I've seen a lot of people buying that recently as well.
That was one that I went back and forth. I was like, do I support it? Do I buy it? Do I buy it? And then they had one that was like, but you get like 2 if you support like extra or whatever. I was like, ooh, I could get one for a friend. And then and the stool looks super comfortable.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I like standing up when I play VR. Like, you know, at least 90% of the time.
So, one of those robotic machines that you can buy that you can just have you seen them? They're like Dr. Octopus in a way, but you're like on a big treadmill.
Yeah, I've seen like on Reddit every once in a while somebody will be like, I'm working on like motion in VR, and it'll be like them working on like super duper high heel, you know, platform shoes type of deal. Yeah, that's all. I'm excited for that tech, but it's not quite there yet.
I think, to be honest, I think for me, I think all that tech is going to stay as a niche. I think the haptic suit has probably got the biggest potential to break out from that, to become more mainstream. But I think in general, I think all those cyber shoes, the weird, crazy Dr. Octopus treadmills and such, I think they're all going to be niches. Because I think if I look at the PlayStation ecosystem, the Xbox ecosystem, you can buy like racing simulator stuff like that, and it's only for the people who are like dedicated. They want that. They also have the money just to spread it, you know, on something like that as well. I don't think they've ever become cheaper. I think they've just become better. I've seen a VR one actually the other day, which was like a racing simulator. I think I saw it on YouTube the other day actually. But I think all of these things are going to be niches, and it'll be for the people with a lot of money and a lot of space, you know, to play with. And yeah, I don't know how the suit, I think you're right. I think once they make a suit where it's just like a jacket, that's like an everyday jacket, not just, although I do like the way it looks. The X40 looks cool. The X16 doesn't look as good, but the X40 looks pretty sick.
Yeah, it does. It looks like a bulletproof vest or something.
Exactly. So to be honest, I'm a big fan of how it looks, but yeah, maybe if they sort out the heat issues, maybe if it gets too hot, it can put someone off. Is it very heavy? You said it is heavier than the one before, but
it's not like uncomfortably heavy, but you don't not feel the weight.
Right. Okay. And it's the same with the arms, right? The arms are a little bit heavier.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. I'm wondering how it feels on the face, to be honest.
The one thing that kept me away from the face was that I heard that it felt uncomfortable, like as the face thing.
Because the heat as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. Have you seen anything about the Yaw 2 though? Because that thing looks freaking cool.
See, that's what I was talking about. I can't remember whose YouTube it was on. Was it
Cass? Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it Cass and Sherry?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I saw. Yeah, that was it. The Yaw 2. Yeah, it looks dope. And it looks cool as well. They nailed the design.
Yeah, 100%. And so as I sat here and listened to you and I thought a little bit more, I think you're kind of right, because in order for these things to go mainstream, they've got to be used for more than gaming, right? Because VR is going to go mainstream not because of gaming. It's going to replace monitors. It's going to do all that, and so unless they have more uses other than like game uses, I'm retracting what I said. I think unless they can find a new use that I really can't think of right now,
it's always going to be a niche.
Yeah,
it's always going to be a niche. I think on your point though, in terms of VR going mainstream, I think there's a good chance that it could go via games as well. But I think the only company that has that power is Sony, because they have such a massive audience. They have such a dominance in that ecosystem, such a dominance. I think with the PS4, Xbox got blown out the water, and I think they've still kept all their fans with the PS5. And it's always like the coolest one, right? If you get a PS5, you're cool. The Xbox, you're a nerd. You know, this is coming from an original Xbox owner. But I never had the PS2. I used to have the original Xbox, and that's what people used to say. Like, oh, you got the nerdy Microsoft thing. Still stand by it. The Xbox is better than PS2. But what I was going to say, I was like, when their PSVR comes out, I think they have the biggest opportunity to try and attack the gamers here and try and get some of these Call of Duty, FIFA players on board, you know. if they can, they've gone to a winner. And I think then VR can become a bit more mainstream. But right now, it's still nowhere near. And it's funny because I still get friends, even like obviously with this channel, asking me like, "Oh, what's your PC setup? Have you got a beefy PC?" And I was like, "I got a Mac Mini." Like, I don't need a PC to play this VR. This is hands-free. This is standalone, but still, that marketing hasn't gone to them.
Yeah, a lot of my friends ask, they're like, "Wait, so the whole thing is just like in there?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's a mobile tech. It's all in that headset."
But you got to be careful when you say mobile, because if you say mobile, people go, "Oh, that's not going to be that great then. It's going to be a bit..." You know, it's still, even in my head, when you just said that, I was like, yeah, I guess so. Because I still think Candy Crush and stuff, even though my dad's playing everybody's golf on his iPhone the other day, and he's addicted to it. So, yeah, I don't know. I think VR going mainstream VR games, I think you're right. I think in terms of the monitors is probably a good option. But I feel like if it goes through monitors, I think that's business. I think that's enterprise. I think that's like the HTC Vivecom, business. I don't think that goes mainstream in terms of consumers.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it like, even less like enterprise businesses, but even like at school or something, like administrators, things like this. That's just because I work at a school. That's why I went there. But I don't know. Like when I worked at at a hedge fund for a little bit, I could totally see all of us, instead of looking at two screens, just being in VR. Yeah.
More focused as well. You're dialed in. There's no distractions coming out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I feel like we could talk about that all day, to be honest. How VR goes to mainstream, and maybe that's a topic for a future show. But yeah, I think that's everything. Samson, do you have any other games you were playing or anything else you wanted to talk about before we wrap it up here?
Nothing in particular. I do want to sneak in. I am looking forward to PSVR 2, for sure, next year.
Do you have a PS5?
Not yet.
No.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting until PSVR and all that.
That's gonna be a big $1,000 purchase, like put together. But,
exactly.
Yeah.
What I'm kind of hoping for is, like, with the last generation of consoles, they released like a 1.5 version.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was
Slim
had a
version.
few. Yeah, exactly. So I might just wait until that eventually happens. But we'll see. We'll talk more on that later.
I don't think you will. I think as soon as PSVR comes out next year, you're buying it. Don't give me that, Samson. Don't pretend. I know you too well already now. Don't even pretend. No, I agree. I know this is an Oculus podcast, but I'm also looking forward to it because I think Sony are just going to go all out again and just try their best to try and get this. I don't think they'll be doing a 2 if they didn't think the 1 was good enough in terms of success. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But for now, we have our little baby Oculus that I just looked at just now, just sitting there. And yeah, hopefully... the other day, by the way, just before we wrap up here, I saw that Sniper Elite VR was still coming soon on the store. Just and still nothing.
Never.
Because I was typing in Carve Snowboarding and nothing came up for some reason. But then all of a sudden, Sniper Elite 4 came at the top, and I was like, oh no, still nothing. So we wait and see. We wait and see on that. But yeah, aside from those games that we're playing, I've been still jumping into Smash Drums like I spoke about last week. Still having good fun in that game. And yeah, I jumped into Beatsaber again because playing Limp Bizkit rolling is good fun. is really good fun. In fact, I might just hop into that now after this podcast,
Nice. Yeah, and we got to get a Demio game going sometime.
Yeah, I got to buy that game first. I might do. I need to get it in there. Yeah, maybe next week. Samson.
All right.
But yeah, that's all from me. That's all from you, Samson.
Yeah, I've been Sam. Thanks for having me.
Sweet. And I've been Dan from Playtest VR.